Barter System, the pre-money era. Long before coins and paper were used, people lived by trading directly. A farmer exchanged grain for fish, a shepherd swapped milk for clothes. This simple system is called barter. Barter worked because people lived in small, closed groups. Everyone knew each other's needs. Goods had clear, visible value. A cow gave milk, salt flavored food, grain fed families. Life ran smoothly as long as trade matched wants. However, barter had problems. It needed what economists call the double coincidence of wants. This means both sides must want exactly what the other offers. A man with goats needed someone who wanted goats. If that person wished for wheat instead, the deal failed. Another problem was indivisibility. You could not split a goat to buy a basket. At times, the goods were bulky and hard to carry far. Therefore, barter was limited. It worked for villages, not kingdoms. When trade grew, people needed something better. They needed a common medium. That search led to the next stage in money's history. Commodity money, value you could hold. After barter failed, people turned to things with natural value. They used salt, shells, cattle, and even stones. This is called commodity money. Commodity money worked because items had intrinsic worth. People needed salt for food. They valued cattle for milk and labor. Shells looked beautiful and rare. These goods had use, not just trade value. Moreover, commodity money solved barter's problems. It was widely accepted. A bag of salt was easier to divide than a goat. A shell necklace was portable and durable. These items acted as an early standard of exchange. However, commodities also had limits. Salt could melt in rain, cattle could die, and shells could be found in excess, losing value. Transport was still hard over long distances. Still, this system was revolutionary. For the first time, people used objects as symbols of wealth. Trade grew larger, markets expanded, and the idea of money began to take shape. Metal coins, standardized currency. Around 600 BCE, a breakthrough happened. The Kingdom of Lydia minted the first metal coins. These were small, round pieces made from electrum, a mix of gold and silver. Coins worked because they had clear, stamped values. People no longer argued over how much salt or shells were worth. A coin's mark showed its value and who guaranteed it. This made trade faster and more reliable. Coins spread quickly. Greece adopted them, then Rome, and soon most empires. They were durable and easy to carry. Unlike cattle or salt, coins did not rot or die. They fit into pouches and could cross long distances. However, coins had limits, and heavy bags slowed travel. Rulers also clipped or mixed coins with cheap metals. That reduced trust and value. Still, coins transformed trade. They gave people a common standard. For the first time, money looked like what we know today. Paper money, from China to the world. Coins worked well, but they were heavy for big trades. In China, during the Tang and Song dynasties, merchants found a solution. The Chinese used paper notes. Paper money started as receipts. Merchants deposited coins with a money handler. In return, they got a slip of paper promising value. That slip could be used in trade. Eventually, rulers printed notes themselves. This new system was lighter and faster. A trader could carry thousands in value without heavy metal bags. For the first time, money was not about the material. It was about trust. Paper money spread slowly. By the Middle Ages, it had reached parts of Europe. Later, governments in many countries adopted it fully. People trusted the note because it was backed by a ruler's promise. However, paper could be forged or destroyed. It also depended on stable governments. But despite risks, paper notes changed trade forever. They made global commerce possible. Banking systems and credit. As trade expanded, people needed more than coins or notes. Banks appeared. In Renaissance Italy, the Medici family built one of the first great banking systems. Banks held people's money safely. They gave receipts and records. More importantly, they created credit. A merchant could borrow to fund a voyage. A farmer could buy seeds now and pay later. Banks also invented new tools. Promissory notes promised payment in the future. Checks allowed safe transfers without carrying coins. These tools made trade safer and faster. With banks, money became more abstract. It was no longer just metal or paper in hand. It was also written on documents. Banking spread across Europe and soon the world. However, banking brought risks. Loans could fail. Banks could collapse. Yet, despite problems, the system grew. It laid the foundation for modern economies. Without banks and credit, large-scale trade and growth would have been impossible. Fiat money, trust as currency. For centuries, many currencies have been tied to gold or silver. Governments later moved away from that link. In August 1971, the U.S. stopped convertibility of dollars to gold. This move ended the post-war Bretton Woods system. It pushed many countries toward fiat money. Fiat money has no intrinsic value. Paper and coins carry value by decree. People accept them because governments require them. Banks and markets also trust the currency. Moreover, central banks manage the money supply and interest rates. This control helps fight inflation and shape economies. Fiat money brings clear benefits. It allows a flexible policy in crises. Governments can inject cash during recessions. However, it also brings risks. If authorities print too much, inflation can spike. In extreme cases, hyperinflation can ruin savings and trust. Therefore, stable institutions must manage fiat systems carefully. Digital money, cards and online payments. Modern cash gave way to digital options in the 20th century. The first modern charge card began in 1950. Diners Club launched a card for restaurant bills in New York. Soon, banks created card networks for wider use. Credit and debit cards made daily life easier. People bought goods without carrying heavy bags of cash. Retailers accepted cards and processed payments through networks. Over the decades, magnetic stripes, chips, and contactless tech have improved security. Meanwhile, digital transfers moved money across borders in seconds. The Internet then changed payments again. Firms built platforms for online transfers and wallets. Confinity and X.com merged and became PayPal around 1999 to 2000. This service lets users send money by email and web. It helped millions trade safely online. Digital money is fast and global. It depends on infrastructure and trust in providers. Outages, hacks, or wrong charges show its weakness. Still, digital payments have reshaped commerce and daily life worldwide. Cryptocurrency, the new frontier. In 2008, an anonymous paper proposed a new money system. A year later, Bitcoin's first block launched on January 3, 2009. This started the first networking cryptocurrency and blockchain. The network records transactions in linked blocks. No single authority controls it. Cryptocurrencies aim to decentralize money and enable peer-to-peer transfers. Miners secure the network and validate transactions. People value crypto for censorship resistance and borderless transfers. Moreover, blockchain opened doors for many tokens and smart contracts. However, crypto faces big challenges. Prices can swing wildly in days. Regulators debate rules and protections. Scaling and energy use also raise concerns. Nevertheless, crypto pushed finance into new experiments. It forced banks and firms to rethink trust, custody, and settlement. Finally, the crypto space keeps evolving fast with new ideas and risks. In addition, cryptocurrencies changed how people view money itself. They showed that value could exist without coins, paper, or even banks. For many, this freedom is exciting. For others, it feels unsafe and unstable. Still, crypto inspired innovation in finance, art, and technology. From payment systems to NFTs, the ripple effects keep spreading. It marks not just a new chapter, but possibly a new age of money.